what you believe you deserve, the universe will serve, because at the end of the day, regardless of like where you are, your gender, how old you are, how much money you make, we're all going through these same experiences under these same sort of laws.
Welcome to the Phase 4 podcast, inspired by Vishen Lakhiani and Ajit Nawalkar, co-founders of EverCoach, a division of Vine Valley. In this podcast, we speak to coaches and creatives about where they were, where they are, and where they are going. This is an intersection of what we focus on expands, and your story is your superpower. Guest today is Raven. She is a yogini. She is also a shamanic healer, clairvoyant, Reiki master. And so today we're going to talk about the energy world and a lot more. And Raven, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, JP. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely grateful. I believe I always love to just start with, tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you end up in this space?
It's so funny. I feel like people ask like how you got into the arts, and a lot of times, and what I mean by that, I mean like metaphysical, and a lot of times people will respond like it wasn't by choice, and that is my same answer. It's not something that I was like seeking. It was something I was actually resisting for many years. So my entire life was just, it's been, albeit, points of pain and suffering along the way, very magical. And I've always had this relationship with the non-physical realm, prophetic dreams, just very interesting things that have happened to me. And I used to own a yoga studio. I was a studio owner for about 6 years. I've been teaching and practicing yoga since I was 16. And, after I sold my yoga studio, I sort of had a little dark night of the soul and redefined in many ways who I was forced to. And that it was at that juncture that I really I had no choice really to embrace these intuitive hits that were coming to me. I would be doing yoga teacher trainings and meeting people I'd never met before, and information about their upbringing and addiction and alcoholism, and their deceased loved ones were coming through, and it was making me feel like I was crazy and something was wrong. And so, it was really a matter of life. And I think that my life is not any different than anyone else's. And I had a friend ask me, like, how do you have all these like crazy magical things happen to you and not me? And I'm like, but they're happening to everyone. It's just a matter of paying attention to the signs and the symbols, around us. And for whatever reason, I decided to pay attention to that. And because of that, I feel like life has helped me piece together these dots of, what my natural talents and gifts and abilities are, and how they can be best utilized and supported to the world, and helping them unlock and learn about their abilities as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. It reminds me of this story. It was this guy, he's in a house, there's a flood, they go up into the roof of the house, they're waiting, a boat comes by, he's like, can you help you get to safety? And the guy's like, no, I'm okay. And he's praying to God the whole time. And then a helicopter comes, can we come and take you? Your house is flooding. And then, no, I'm okay. And then he dies in the thing, he goes to heaven, he's like, how come you didn't save me? And God's like, I tried to, you just wouldn't listen. Those intuitive hits or information coming, and he just dismissed it.
100%. Yes. I think that's, in general, like my biggest passion is to really help people experience life in a more fun way. I feel like we've in general lost that zeal, that excitement, that like eagerness for what comes next. And I think that when we pay attention to those signs and those symbols, it gets really fun and interesting, because it's like little presents that the universe is delivering to us through people, places, and things. And, it can make life more enjoyable and And I also think too that a lot of people feel like their life doesn't matter, like they're insignificant. And when they start to lean into these little signs and symbols, it really is hard to believe that you mean that much to the world, that the universe is paying that much attention to your thoughts and your feelings and trying to get your attention and interact with you.
Yeah, I love that. I think if you approach it that way, it does become more fun. And the words I was thinking when you're talking about that is we lose zest and we lose our vitality as we grow older, and we don't have to. And I think approaching it like that, you're not alone, that there's a presence with you, whether you can see it, feel it, whatever religion, doesn't matter. There's something guiding things and making movement. And even as simple as going into a thrift store. I went into a thrift store in June. I'm like, let's make this a spiritual experience. And just all these crazy things, like the book came to me that I needed at that time that I was already looking for, and just weird stuff. So I definitely agree. And so you say everyone has that ability, right? And so we just kind of forget, or not even that we forget, we're just manifesting the negative, like, oh, I can't do that. And the universe is like, okay, fine, you can't do it. And how would someone turn that around, or how would someone realize that? Yeah. Or like, is there anything you can do? I think like manifesting a feather. Don't manifest $1 million right away. Start with a feather and see what happens. But you have anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, this goes into the book that I've written, and the oracle deck that I'm writing about the magnetism to life, and how we're constantly magnetizing and manifesting absolutely every single day. And I say, what you believe you deserve, the universe will serve, because at the end of the day, regardless of like where you are, your gender, how old you are, how much money you make, we're all going through these same experiences under these same sort of laws. And so if we pay attention to the laws of how things work, then we can better interact with being in physical reality. And so when you think of yourself in terms of being magnetic, you think of every single element in the periodic table of elements holds some level and quality of magnetism to it. It may not, like, you're not going to walk down a path while you're hiking and get, propelled forward, into a tree. Like, that's not that level of magnetism, right? But your inclination to go sit on a log, and then you have this beautiful experience with this bird that props right in front of you and interacts and acts out of the ordinary, right? There's stuff like that that's in between that we're talking about, right? And it has a lot to do with our beliefs, because our beliefs are just electricity. It's just light. Like our atoms that make up our entire body are protons, neutrons, and electrons, which is positive, negative, and neutral. We live on a planet that has two poles, South Pole and the North Pole. There's a collective connection between this framework. And if we start to understand that what we believe, which is intertwined and blended between what we think and what we feel, we can then change our reality. Because every single person on the planet will say that they've met the same person, just different name, different time, right? Whether it's like a friend or a relationship, work relationship, something of that sort holds a pattern and a cycle within it. And when we start to recognize these motions, this centrifugal force, this pulling, drawn towards one person, repelled by another, nuance that's happening underneath our experiences, then we can start to become more powerful with our lives, with our thoughts and our feelings.
Yeah, I think Dr. Joe Dispenza, he says like feelings, emotions, it's all emotions and feelings. So thought sends out that electricity and it bounces along in the quantum field until it meets a match. But the feeling that you feel and the emotion that you feel will attract it and pull it back. And so And it works plus and minus. So if you're thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to be late, or if I'm going to have a bad day, or I'm not going to have enough to pay, like it will happen because your fear is just as much as the other one. Whatever, however strong the emotion is, that will pull it back.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and there's a math to it. I mean, how we see reality and how structures are built or how we create. I mean, you said it really beautifully in we did a little meditation before we got on that he guided us in a grounding, whoever's listening to this. And towards the end, JP said something along the lines of, in this meditation, we are connecting our heads together so that we are creating something between us that will then be brought forth for the listeners. And to me, everything is of co-creation. And what I call this actually dimensions in my book, which is a new word, which are emotional and mental dimensions. And they're constructs that are undeniable that we have between ourselves and another. And that's how, you create based off of the capacity that you have with your energetic, magnetic departments and intelligence around them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So emotions are huge. Manifesting is huge. So I think there's so much to cover and there's not enough time, but shamanic healer, clairvoyant, Reiki, I don't know if you want to take them one at a time or all together.
I mean, it's so funny because people are like, what's your new website? And it's like, you do this, you do that, you have this, you have that. And I'm not, I don't have like a discrimination towards anything. I believe, like you were saying, it doesn't matter what religion people lean into that open up their power and their potential by their relationship with it. To me, it's like all the same thing. And so it's just Raven, really. It's just raven.com is my website, and it's just me. Like, I've explored these different avenues that have allowed me to step into this level of knowing and correlation and connection to all these different art forms, philosophies, and religion that have brought me to this understanding of how to manifest. And so really at the end of the day, I teach people how to activate manifestation, and shamanism is just a way to connect into the signs and the symbols and understand the relationship that we have beyond our physical matter and past mortality in many ways. And, the Reiki is just a connecting to the energy and the vibration and the frequency that science is showing us. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a bridge between the two, and I'm hoping that it doesn't really matter what I do and what avenues I've gotten into of interest. What matters is like underneath it all, everybody has this level of turning on their light, and it doesn't matter if you become a shaman or a Catholic priest. It's underneath who you are and how you convey yourself, the impression that you make in the world.
Yeah, amazing. So everyone has these abilities. You have to just walk the path and eventually you get better and better. But practicing and developing and cultivating, it's not everyone has this ability.
I mean, I believe that everybody, like, these are tools, just like your fingers are digits and tools that you can use to pick things up. And most of the collective reality isn't teaching us about these abilities and bridging the gap between the two. There's slow discussions, like even in politics, that are talking about the pituitary gland, which has like never been heard of or discussed before. Bridging between like my ability to think and to feel, and understanding that everybody holds within them issues and feelings around rejection, dealing with death and dying, dealing with their own sexuality. There are these, like, I call them terms of engagement that each person on the planet will encounter in some way, shape, or form. And your relativity to pain and my relativity to pain is not to be measured, but how you grow can be measured based off of the decisions and the choices and the actions that you make. That's how you manifest. And everyone does that every single day in their life. Someone was asking me like how I got through, how I am the person that I am today, with the tragedy that I've gone through. And now I'm a single parent and my children don't have a father. And it's like, well, I could look back to my mother being a single parent and me witnessing her. I don't know. We don't know what your and my and everyone else's particular lessons in evolution, in growth or enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, that makes you like a better person to be the change that you wish to see in the world. So absolutely. I believe that's why we're here. I mean, the definition of who we are as a human being rests on the philosophical debate of which came first, the chicken or the egg. But most people don't know that. We just agree to the term. We agree that we are a human being.
Wow. Yeah, I love it. It's what about past lives? I don't know if you are or not, or some people believe it, some people don't. Like our soul manifested this whole experience before we even came here.
Yeah, there's many theories around it. I don't know that I would say that there is a one set thing. I do believe that we are multidimensional, like in this physical reality, but also that we have this level of connecting to different dimensions. And time and space is a construct in which we are operating in this reality with and from. So I have definitely done sessions for people where past life stuff has come through that has resonated with them and made sense, that they have made changes to their lives around. But we all have to understand that words are just symbols and they mean something different for everyone. And knowledge is only like, it's taught or seen. And it's taught either through a book or a documentary or something like that. So really at the end of the day, it's like the feeling of if this feels true to us and makes sense to us. So if it makes sense for someone to explore the concept and idea of past lives in order for them to evolve in this physical reality, then I would suggest to go for it. But if you're like, this is a bunch of hogwash and I don't resonate, also don't do that. Like it's a choose your own adventure sort of thing. And I really don't think that you can go wrong. What you do is like, you have to live with yourself at the end of the day, and you live with yourself at the end of your life as well. So all of your feelings, your insecurities, your expression, your level of connection and love transfer over. And to me, that's what I feel like people should be working with and trying to move through.
Love it.
Manifest.
Yeah. I didn't mean to skip over your book, but I kind of skipped over it. So can we talk about that a bit more? And the Oracle deck, and is that the magnet mode?
Yes. Yeah. And it's like a manual for life. Like we play a game and we open the book or we open the box and it gives us instructions. And so this book sort of channeled through me over the last couple years, and it's very profound, like how much it makes sense and connects all these dots. And so it's like a framework. And if we can understand the framework, then you can navigate through all of life. You can traverse it through what I call learning how to be neutral and activating your inner compass, like being guided by your inner compass. If it's telling you to sit and read and don't move, trusting that, and resisting against the expectation or the feeling that you're doing something wrong because fill in the blank, So, that is what this book is. It's teaching you how to manifest through understanding life as a manual, really.
Amazing. Shakespeare said, a thing is neither good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Like we attach meanings, like you're talking about the book, like, should I be doing something else? Maybe, maybe not. But you're here doing it right now, so maybe that's a good sign. I think a couple months ago, I was picking my kids up from school. I always take this exact same route home. For some reason, something said turn left, so I did. And we seen this huge deer jump out right in front of my car, and I was just like, wow. Like, that's why I, like, turned left. Like, it was just weird, right? One of those intuitive hits, but I think they happen all the time to us, and usually we just ignore them. So I love what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think that they are ignored because they're taught as like it's just a coincidence. You're not that important. Something outside of you knows better than you do, sort of thing. But when we trust, that guidance to turn, to call, to reach out, to connect, to not connect as well, like those things help you increase and harness your own internal magnetism instead of relying on the world around you, like outside of you, the people, to tell you you're enough. You got this.
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yeah, that's a good one, right? And when you get quiet and kind of shut things down or silence, like stop watching news and everyone listening to people, and then you just kind of get with yourself, then all of a sudden, yeah, it does become more clear because there's not all this other stuff going on.
Hence the whole concept of meditation and then getting very clear with your direction. That's why meditation and breath work is becoming so popular and is so powerful.
Yeah, it's definitely like makes me more coherent. Is that the words? I wonder about yoga. Like, so obviously it's physical. You see people doing the different positions in asanas, but there's got to be a spiritual element. And with those two together, that's like mind-body connection. So can you kind of talk about if there is and what it looks like, maybe for you or your clients?
Like talk about yoga and how it's been a spiritual journey. Is that what you're saying?
More the spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, I got into practicing yoga when I was 16 because I actually wanted to lose weight. And my counselor, I was going to counseling, and she suggested it at the time. And so I started, yoga is just like, it's this really beautiful framework to practice getting to know yourself. And that is a spiritual journey. That like self-awareness is incredibly attractive. I think underneath all of the dating apps and all the conversations of the divine masculine, divine feminine, all of that stuff, depending on what you're listening to. But really, at the end of the day, it's this level of self-awareness, of having control, like refined control over your feelings and your emotions that cause positive or negative actions, right? Because we will be hurt by life, and then there'll be new people that come into our life that may be giving us the perception, this is just an example, of how that person seems like another person in the past, and that person hurt me, so I'm going to treat this person like that person. When that person is a different vibration, more integral, honest, indifferent in a new way. And so when we practice yoga, whether we're sitting in an uncomfortable posture, I mean, there's only 3 postures in the Yoga Sutras, like physical postures. Everything else is truly about understanding your mind and how it works and how to control and direct your attention into potentiality, into bringing something from the ethers into physical form, really. Because 2 negatives don't make a positive. This is like in math and in life. And when we sit with ourselves, we can see we have enough composure and connection to the physical form in the body, like body as in thoughts and feelings, to allow ourselves to observe what is an illusion, what is true. Because there's a lot about ourselves that we believe that is not true in terms of what we're capable of, our beauty, our intelligence, even the ability to manifest. So yoga is a good facet for people to get to know themselves.
Yeah, I'd argue that the entire thing is an illusion, like everything we're looking at.
Is a Maya.
Yeah, exactly. I was just describing Maya to a friend yesterday who never heard of it, and I was just like, yeah, exactly. So as we begin to wind down, if this episode resonates, please like, subscribe, share, follow, help us out, and reach out to Yogi. Reach out to Raven, Yogi Raven. We are going to put her links in the show notes. And Raven, ask everyone this question. This is the Phase 4 podcast. And Phase 4 in the 6 phase meditation by Vishen Lakhiani is all about creating a future 3 years from now. So where is Raven 3 years from today?
Raven has a few books published and her Oracle deck, and she is continuing to speak on podcasts and on stage, and she's traveling around the world with her children.
Amazing. So for those who aren't watching on video, just listening on audio, when I asked her that question, she started smiling as she was going into the future and finding those answers and pictures. And I love it. That question is just so fun because it allows possibility, play, and it gives your brain a target to reach for. So thank you for that.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah. I have like 200 more, but I know we're up against it. So I would kind of maybe ask, this is a part where you just take it wherever you want. So if you have something to sell, sell it. If you have a message of hope or inspiration, please share it, or anything I didn't really cover about your practices.
So one of the things that I have found with my clients that I have been working with, teaching them the method of the magnet mode. For those of you that don't know, on June 22nd, 2024, so just a little over 4.5 months ago, my husband at the time, we were together for 15 years, he drowned in a tragic river accident, and my children were involved, 9, 8, and 5, and they almost drowned and died as well. And so, death is a huge thing, and it brings people to their knees. It paralyzes them. They can't think, they can't feel, they can't act, they can't think about the future. And because I have my life, I feel like has been preparing me because I'm living the magnet mode, I, as well as my clients that I have spoken with, have noticed a level of neutrality. And that, when I say that, I don't mean complacency. I mean a total allowance of feeling and being completely present, and choosing how to engage my energy in the most efficient way. And I know that I'm not the only person going through what I am going through, not specifically my circumstance, but tragedy and grief. And I just want people that are watching this to know and to give them hope that there are ways that you can transform the tragedy into triumph. And it's possible to live and find joy and to be happy and truly live the best version of yourself and the life that you want to live and have. So you can find me on itsjustraven.com, RAVEN. And my book is called The Magnet Mode, and I will have an Oracle deck coming out by the end of the year. And I am seeing clients, I do coaching, and if you feel called or lit up, charged, inspired in any way, shape, or form from this conversation, and you want to reach out to me, please do so.
Yeah. I don't usually say sorry to people, but I'm sorry for your loss. I know mostly when if you tell well, I guess it's the counseling aspect, is when you tell someone sorry, then you put them as a victim. And I'm obviously condolences, but I don't know. That's when you say it was preparing you, you feel like it. I almost feel the same way. My dad died in front of me, and it was the same thing. It was like, man, if this happened a year ago, I would just it would have been different. I was just I felt like I was prepared and I was supposed to be there. And in the weirdest possible way, it was kind of cool. I don't know. But
I know, and it's hard to say. It's kind of cool because there were some crazy dreams that happened, the synchronicity of the moments. There's just it's a beautiful tragedy. And it's hard to say that miracles have happened and miracles have been created from the difficulty that we've gone through. But like, this is really the crux of life. Like, no one is gonna, you know, live their life without dealing with this in some way.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. I'm sorry you as well. But I also want to add really quickly, is you said a word, you said the victim. And this is like an archetype that every single one of us will feel like a victim of our situation and potentially accidentally, consciously or subconsciously victimize other people as well. It's just part of our human experience. And I think that's the thing, right? Is like, we can become empowered when we stop feeling like a victim of our situation and the tragedy that we experience. No one should go through what they're going through, but because they have, we have to make something good out of it. You can choose to not, but the most empowering way to live the best version is to extract the nutrients from the experience, no matter what.
Yeah. My entire life changed. I went to a Tony Robbins event and I heard him say, how can you take the worst thing that ever happened to you and make it the best thing that ever happened to you? My website and my tagline for the company is, your story is your superpower. And I saw something similar on your website, and it's true. It's so weird, right? And then when you're talking earlier about staying neutral and like, it's not complacency, the way I view that is, everything is a spectrum, everything. And you don't want to spend too much time at either end. You want to kind of come to the middle as much as you can. And look at that. So,
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And I think neutral is like it. Neutral and self-awareness is the new sexy, everyone. That's like, that's the new thing. And that's something to be activated, you know, and recognize, like, it doesn't matter how old you are, and especially what you've gone through. You know, I've heard this many times before, and I've seen this like with yoga instructors, podcasts, hosts, guests. Like, the most powerful conversations and people are the ones that have gone through the difficulty. They have experienced suffering, and from that, they've blossomed. They've decided to transform. So maybe at the end of this, like, the true theme of this conversation is the invitation for the listeners to take their experience and transform from it too.
Become a phoenix.
Yeah.
So my final question is always, how can people reach?
Yeah, I'm online. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I've got yoga videos on there. I actually have a yoga sequence, not like any other that you've probably seen or ever taken, connected to manifesting, called the Magnet Flow, that I'm about in the process of releasing as well. So whether you want to practice breath work or you want to practice manifesting the life, man of your dreams, the money that you want, I'm in all of that spectrum to connect with.
Amazing. Raven, I'm so grateful for your time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, JP. Me too.